Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. You know what today is? Today is National Voter Registration Day. And because of it, we're wanting to make sure that everyone comes out to vote. And the great thing about today is that we're going to be having some experts. These experts are going to be able to give you the kind of information that you need so that you are ready to vote, especially for those that are in the state of Florida. But this kind of information is very important for all of us across the nation. So we're watching right now. We're coming to you live from Orlando, Florida. And to all of you from California, hello, everyone. Good morning to you. It is good afternoon to us. We're really, really excited because today it's really about making a difference, right? A lot of us, there's over 60 million Latinos, Hispanics across this nation. And so what better than to show how civic minded we are, how important the next generation is. So we vote for school board members. We vote for good law enforcement. We vote for economic development. So all those wonderful things we're going to talk about today and how do we go about voting. So I think that one of the key things is to make sure that you have a pen ready. And for those of you who have your phone, make sure that you look at all the nice links that we're going to have. We're going to be giving you our hotline, our Naleo hotline. Just this week, we have been extremely busy in the hotline because it's also National Citizenship Day. The whole entire week, we've been having virtual citizenship workshops, and the enthusiasm across the country is pretty exciting for us here at Naleo Educational Fund. Naleo Educational Fund is a nonpartisan organization. So we want to make sure that everyone who is Latino, who's Hispanic, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, that you're absolutely a part of being part of this process, part of this communication. So some of you are going to have some great questions and be sure that you get them ready. We are eager to be able to take them. We have some wonderful guests today that are going to be speaking to us. And so the focus today is, of course, Central Florida votes. Yes, the I-4 corridor, extremely, extremely important to be part of that process. And so I would like, if it's okay with you, to be able to introduce to you a gentleman who I would love for him to be able to share with you a little bit about himself. I love his story. Met him at a national voter registration press conference, as a matter of fact, some years back. And I just think he's so wonderful. From Seminole County, our Supervisor of Election, Chris Anderson. And Chris, if you be so kind to share a few words, let the wonderful community of Central Florida, who already knows you, but maybe now all of Florida and all of the United States, ladies and gentlemen, just so happy to have with us Mr. Chris Anderson, Supervisor of Elections of Seminole County.
Thank you, Jackie, very, very much. I really do appreciate the opportunity to be here to share information with all voters. It is, Hispanic Heritage Month, so it makes it even more special as we get out. We want all of our voters to be educated. A little bit about myself. I had every reason to be in the backseat of a police car, no reason to be in the front. I saw a lot of failure. I experienced a lot of pain early on. I believe adversity is a tool that builds character. The reason why I do what I do is very simple. I challenge the status quo in an effort to make the voters' lives better. I was doing that before I was a supervisor of elections, as I served the United States Army, as I served in law enforcement. And it never occurred to me to ask anyone that I helped what their party affiliation was, what their philosophical beliefs are, because it doesn't matter. Our work, elections are political, but our work is principled in what we do here. And making sure that everyone has the opportunity to make that oval target on their ballot is important. And I'll tell you why it's important. Voting is a physical representation of our ideals, our beliefs, and our principles. When you make that oval target on your ballot, you believe that you're making your life better, your family's life better, and the person next to you in the booth. So that's my why. You know what I came from, and I'm happy to sit here as the first constitutional officer in Seminole County that's African American. So it means a lot to me to be here. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. The first in everything. We're extremely proud of Mr. Anderson. As a matter of fact, I've been told that there are some wonderful paintings of you in the community of Longwood. The community is extremely proud. And so what more fitting, here it is, National Voter Registration Day, to all those that are so excited about wanting to know, how do we go about voting? What do you say to them, Mr. Anderson? How do they go about voting in the state of Florida?
Well, registering to vote has never been easier. If you have a Florida driver's license or a Florida ID, you can register online at the Florida Voter Registration online database. If you go to any Supervisor of Elections website, you can just click right on register to vote and it takes you directly to it. You can go to the Department of State website and register to vote online. But let's say you don't, and you are at the tax collector's office and you just happen to be updating your driver's license information. You can do it there. Or let's say you're looking for a really good book. You're really interested in reading a good book. You can register to vote at the library. Or let's say you're taking care of your health. And while you're taking care of your health, you can actually register to vote at the health department as well. Those are receiving facilities. One little known small fact that I'd like to mention, that let's say you are vacationing in Miami-Dade County, for instance. You're enjoying the beaches down there, and you're like, you know what? I need to update my voter registration information. Let's say you fill out that form, but you live in Leon County, right? You're a graduate of Florida State University, and you're just enjoying the sun down in Miami. Do you have to drive back to Leon County to turn in that voter registration application? You do not. You can turn in a voter registration application at any Supervisor of Elections office. We have to accept those applications, and we will make sure it gets to the appropriate Supervisor of Elections. So registering to vote is very, 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 very easy. In Seminole County, we deputize all of our principals so we can pre-register our young people to vote. So we try to do everything we can to make sure that everyone has that opportunity to make that oval target on their ballot.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And also, one of the things that is so wonderful about Central Florida is that we have these amazing elected officials. And with us is also our wonderful Supervisor of Elections of Osceola County, Mary Jane Arrington, who has a large Latino community, as a matter of fact, that continues to grow in wonderful Osceola County. If you'd be so kind, Ms. Arrington, please say hello to everyone. We're everywhere. California, we're in Nevada, we are in New York. We're watching you from everywhere. Welcome.
Great. Thank you. I'm Mary Jane Arrington, and I'm the Supervisor of Elections in Osceola County. Osceola County has a large Hispanic population. About 50% of our voters are Hispanic. I've been the Supervisor of Elections for 12 years in Osceola County, and I would tell you it is the greatest job because my office and we are the conduit to help every voter express their most valuable liberty, that of voting. Our job is important, and we are preparing for this upcoming election, which is super important to all of us. There's so many decisions that we're going to be making, both locally, state, and nationally. And so we all need to be prepared. We need to have a plan so we can get out and exercise our right to vote. And I look forward to sharing with you some information about voting this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are so excited. Ms. Arrington, we keep hearing so much about voting by mail. What can you share with everyone that's watching right now in regards to, particularly for those that are in the state of Florida, in regards to voting by mail, and how can they go about requesting it? And I'm sure that you and your team, your staff, is absolutely ready. What can you share with us?
Well, it's interesting because vote by mail is becoming more popular every election, but especially in this election. Most counties have seen a huge increase in the number of mail ballots that we are receiving the requests for. And it's easy to request a mail ballot. All you have to do is call us at any supervisor's office and we can process for you. You can go online and request a mail ballot. You can come in person to our office, or you can send in a paper request. The last day to request a mail ballot is October the 24th. By state law, that is the last day that we can mail it to you. From that point on, if you need a mail ballot, you're going to have to pick it up in person or have a designee pick it up for you. And there is an application online that the designee and you can fill out, or you can also write a letter, and the information, you would need your signature, your date of birth, and your address, and the name of the designee who's going to be picking it up. So we think a lot of our voters statewide are going to be voting by mail, and if that's easier for you, then you need to request a mail ballot.
Yes, and time is of the essence. October 5th is already our deadline for all of you who want to be able to vote on this general election. One of the things that we talked about with Mr. Anderson, you mentioned the health department, and everyone, the biggest conversations in regards to, are they ready, COVID-19 ready? What are some of the things that Seminole County has been doing? What can you share with us?
So like we're wearing masks, right? So we're wearing these masks. So that's right. So, I can tell you statewide, my colleagues and I, we are providing masks, hand sanitizer, gloves to all of our election workers to keep them safe, because we all have a very large group of election workers that are going to come out, and we want to keep them safe because they're going to be interacting with voters. So what are we going to be doing on behalf of the voters? There's going to be hand sanitizer available for them. We're going to be making sure that every surface that the voter touches is sanitized. So no voter is entering a voting booth that has not been cleaned prior to. They're going to be using their own pens. They're going to be using, in some cases, some supervisors are just giving out the pens that voters can keep. Some of us are sanitizing pens. Others are so that is for the pens, but some of us are using Q-tips to sign in as stylists. We had to get creative as supervisors because this is something that the voter and election workers are touching throughout the day in normal circumstances. So now that one-use stylus, one-use secrecy sleeves are just a couple of the things that we're doing as supervisor of elections in the state of Florida to keep our voters safe. And also, too, we're recommending, if you are concerned or if you have a pre-existing health condition that you believe you may be at risk of coming out, we encourage you to vote by mail. If you feel that way, October 24th is the last day to request a mail ballot by 5 p.m. and October 5th is the last day to get your voter registration app in so you can register to vote in the general election.
Yes, and I went and did my early voting for our primaries, and of course I'm a little biased there with Brevard County. Laura Scott doing an amazing job.
She's using Q-tips too. She's actually
using
Q-tips too. Yeah, absolutely.
She did, and of course, you have been nationally recognized, Mr. Anderson, for just really thinking outside the box and really watching those taxpayers' dollars with those Q-tips. And so we're really excited about a lot of the things that you are doing. Also share with us in regards to early voting. I mentioned Brevard County and how ready we were. What do you see, not just yourselves in Seminole, but all over the state of Florida, supervisor of election officers, our officials? What are you doing getting everybody ready for early voting? And when does it start?
So when it comes to in-person voting, the first thing you want to think about is, the space, right? So we want to make sure that, we have enough space so folks can vote safe, right? That's the key to it. So what we've done as supervisor of elections is we've tried to acquire larger spaces for folks to vote. In Orange County, for instance, they're using the Amway Center. I believe Craig Lattimore in Hillsborough County, they're going to be using Raymond James Stadium as an early voting location. Here in Seminole County, we're partying at the Old Party City for early voting, 10,000 feet of square space. So we're all trying to locate larger spaces to be able to space folks out so they can vote in a safe environment with social distancing still in place. One thing we have done is we actually required a machine that we will use after each night of early voting to spray the entire early voting rooms to sanitize them. So it looks like a Ghostbusters backpack. I'm really excited to use it. I've never seen this thing before, but you put cleaning solution in it and you just spray the whole room down and it completely sanitizes everything. But when you open up each morning, the room is sanitized. So for your early voting locations, how can you find them? In every county, the Supervisor of Elections provides your early voting locations via their website. Here in Seminole County is voteseminole.org. You just click on where do I vote, and it'll take you to your early voting locations. Also, I would encourage you to follow the social media accounts of all of your social media, of all of your Supervisor of Elections and the Department of State, because we're actually required to submit our early voting locations to the Department of State Division of Elections, so they also can be able. So they can also provide that information to voters as well. So as you can see, there's a fluid connection between the Supervisor of Elections and the Department of State to provide that information to voters from many different modes of communication. A lot of us do radio ads, billboards. So you're going to see a lot of information between now and November. And one thing that we want to make sure that every voter knows is that if you have questions about elections administration, contact your Supervisor of Elections office, because you're going to get a lot of stuff. Contact your Supervisor of Elections so they can, and also too, Mary Jane's using Q-tips as well. I have to give Mary Jane a shout out as well.
Yes, Mary Jane, Miss Arrington to us is doing a magnificent job in Osceola County. And we are very eager to hear regarding the drop boxes. How can someone in Central Florida, all of the state of Florida, of course, everyone's going to go to registertovoteflorida.gov, especially today since it's National Voter Registration Day. But Ms. Arrington, if you'd be so kind and share with our viewers regarding the drop boxes and those folks who really are very concerned regarding COVID-19, rightfully so. What will you be able to share with us and the measures that you folks are taking in Osceola County?
Well, first of all, your mail ballot is getting ready to be mailed out. Most of them will be mailed the end of this week or sometime next week. So if you have a mail ballot request already on file, you need to be on lookout for your mail ballot arriving. And then once you receive your mail ballot, there are several ways for you to get it back to us. You can drop it in the mail, or once early voting starts in your county, you can drop it off at a drop box at any early voting site in your county. Again, you can find those locations on your county's elections website. The other way you can return it is you can bring it to the Supervisor of Elections office. Some counties have more than one office, and you can always do that. Our office has a 24-hour drop box that you can drop it off at any time. I would encourage you to vote your ballot and then return it. We are a society of procrastinators, and we set it on the kitchen counter and forget about it. And we want you to, again, to have a plan to vote and to get that ballot back to us in a timely manner. If you're going to mail it back to us, remember that it takes 5 to 7 days for that ballot to reach us. So if you're going to return it after then, I encourage you to drop it off at an early voting site or the Supervisor of Elections office. But remember, you may not return your ballot on Election Day to your home polling location. There is no way that that ballot can be back in our office by 7 o'clock. So do not wait to the last minute.
Yes, you heard it here. Do not wait to the last minute. As we continue, the clock is ticking. October 5th is going to be the last day to register. You want to be engaged. Like we said, there's over 60 million Latinos in this beautiful country. It is our country. We must be civic minded. Can you also share? We talked about at the beginning of the conversation in regards to what a large Latino community is in Osceola County. Ms. Arrington, are you able to share with us in regards to, does Florida, just not just in Osceola, but does Florida in general provide language assistance, translation, related materials in Spanish for those que entienden inglés, pero prefieren en español? What would you like to share?
Most of us do. About 2/3 of us. We have 67 counties, and 46 of us provide Spanish language assistance. In 14 counties, such as Osceola, everything we do is in 2 languages. In some counties, they have separate ballots for Spanish, those that need Spanish. But in Osceola County and many counties, we have what we call bilingual ballots, and they're printed in both languages. So they're on that ballot. But all of our educational material is available in Spanish, from applications to voter guides to anything else we publish. Our website, we're extremely proud of it, voteosceola.com. Every page is translated, not just a few pages, but every page. So we can better serve all our voters. And again, in Osceola County, that's over 50% of our voters are Hispanic.
Gracias, Ms. Arrington. And I've heard you with your Spanish. I've watched you. I'm very proud of your Spanish, and I am just very thankful for you and for all the hard work that all our supervisor of elections across our nation are going through right now. And I know right now we are continuing to have some questions, and let's go ahead and take some of these wonderful questions that are coming in. I can't believe it. We only have 30 minutes, and the 30 minutes are almost gone. So our question is, where are the locations for the drop boxes? So again, if you'd be so kind, Mr. Anderson, we'll go ahead and give that.
I think I know Jenny. Okay.
Yes, we know Jenny. She's very active in our community.
Absolutely. So the drop boxes are located at all early voting locations. We have 8 this year in Seminole County. You have 2 in Oviedo. All of our early voting sites are libraries. Every library except for Altamont Springs is an early voting site in Seminole County. So that just kind of makes it easy. There's only 2 that happen to be that are not libraries. That's the Oviedo Gym and Aquatic Center, and that's the 1140 East Altamont Drive, which is the new 10,000 square space of voting that we have. Now, we also have the Supervisor of Elections office, which has to be an early voting location per Florida law. But you go to any library except for the library in Altamont Springs, and there will be a drop box there. And also remember, you can bring it right here to the Supervisor of Elections office during early voting dates and times and on up into Election Day at 7 p.m. All right?
Yes, thank you. We had another question, Ms. Arrington, kind of like behind the scenes. How often do our Supervisor of Elections get together and learn from one another regarding COVID-19 and some of the things, best practices that are happening right now?
Well, we historically have had 2 conferences a year, but this year certainly has put a kink in that. But we seem to be getting together a lot more via Zoom or other alternatives to discuss issues amongst ourselves. And we are in constant contact by email, sharing best practices and ideas. I mean, that's how I learned about Q-tips from Chris.
Yes, it's just been amazing. And what else can you share with us, Mr. Anderson? We're going to have on October 19th our wonderful Mr. Cals from Orange County. We're going to be having an interview with Orange County Supervisor of Elections. Are you able to just give us a little niche so that our viewers can see what is the wonderful things that you're hearing that are happening in your neighboring county, which is Orange County, where Orlando, this is where we are, in regards to drop boxes and the Amway Center and all that wonderful stuff that's happening over there?
Well, I don't know if Bill is actually offering prizes for anyone who can hit a basketball shot from half court, but maybe I can talk to him about that. I always tease him that, he's got the Disney money down there. So, he can't tell me that it's not there. Maybe he can offer some prizes for some folks that can shoot very well. But, I think the biggest thing for Bill is, the Amway Center is huge. Him partnering with the Orlando Magic, the Orlando Magic stepping up, getting involved in voting and asking and encouraging people to come out and vote is just inspiring. I think it's great. We all were together just last week, and I think that's just a cool program. So I won't say too much more about it. I'll let Bill share the details of it, but kudos to him for being able to pull that off. Kudos to each and every supervisor of elections for being able to maintain, because you know what? It's one team, one fight with us. It really is. So kudos to all of them for doing a great job. And like Mary said, we stick with each other. We take things from each other and try and make best practices, because we all have different challenges in our county, but we all mean to get from point A to point B.
Yes, it is so exciting when our community is able to hear that we're all working together. It is very key. So now that we are at the end of our program, I would like to thank Ms. Arrington, and maybe some words that maybe she would like to share to our viewers, everyone that's watching, especially with this deadline coming of October 5th.
Well, again, have a plan. So you know how you're going to vote. If you need to update your record, do that before Election Day or before you go early vote, so your voting experience will be seamless. If you're going to vote in person, remember to take a photo and signature ID. In Florida, we use many types of photo and signature IDs, such as your passport, concealed weapons permit, a veteran's permit, a student ID, but you must have a photo and signature ID to vote in person. Remember, if you're going to request a mail ballot, you've got till October 24th to be mailed to you, and after that, you would have to pick it up in person. But most of all, I encourage everyone to get out and vote. It's never been more important.
Yes. And how about you, Mr. Anderson? Some words of wisdom for our wonderful viewers who are really watching all over our beautiful nation. What words would you like to be able to share with them in regards to the importance of voting and what a huge difference it makes?
I'm going to speak on behalf of all the supervisor of elections in the state of Florida, and perhaps even the country. Between now and November, your mailbox is going to get beaten up with a lot of different information. Some of it may be confusing. Some of it you may not be sure where it's coming from. But if you have questions about elections administration, I would strongly recommend that you contact your local elections officials, because they are in charge of administering elections in the area in which you're in. So reach out to them so they can walk you through and help you understand what it is that you're receiving, to see whether or not it is accurate or whether or not it applies to you or not. That is one of the things that I would like to stress to each and every voter. If you're confused, just talk to your supervisor of elections or your elections officials.
That's right. If you're confused, just go ahead and contact them. It's important to hear it from the right folks. And I think we've had a wonderful 30 minutes here real quickly of being able to inform. So Central Florida votes. We are very honored to have had Ms. Arrington and Mr. Anderson with us. And on behalf of Naleo Educational Fund, from the Naleo family, we thank each one of you. You have a huge constituency of Latinos, and we're very, very appreciative of everything that you're doing to make sure that our community comes out to vote. A todos, gracias y no se olviden a votar.
Take care. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you both.